Hello there.
What I want this to be about is basically a series of ideas that people can go to and basically get advice. So this week is obviously, as the title suggests, it's about finding shows and finding ways to release your music. So first of all, finding shows. Finding shows can be it can be awful. Like it could be so difficult and it could be so hard to find reliable promoters and reliable people to put shows on. So I think there's a couple ways of doing it, and I think there's a couple of ones that'll work definitely better for some people than it will for others. The first one is obviously find a promoter, find some like-minded people that obviously are in your genre. Say you do rock, find some bands. Like if you do hip hop, find some other rappers. Like everything. Do you know what I mean? So it's just about finding your niche and then kind of finding promoters that will help promote that and kind of you're not going to be obviously like say doing a if you're a rock band you're not going to want to do a hip hop show, if that makes any sense. So it's like find your niche and find the people that will obviously help and fuel and grow your creativity, and that way as well you'll find better connections within your genre and that'll help boost, and obviously like everyone can help boost each other. So I think that's really helpful. So probably like that's a good way of just getting in. Obviously there's like open mics and stuff. That's obviously a good way if you haven't performed before, or if you haven't performed in a very long time. Like it's a good way to kind of go rock up, just like test the set out, and then it's kind of like if you mess up you mess up, but if it goes perfectly and people like the songs, that's kind of a good way to respond. I'd say the second way is putting on shows yourself. So if you couldn't find a promoter, finding a venue, maybe a smaller venue where you know locally, like via your Spotify numbers or whatever data you can collect to kind of see where you're getting the most streams or whatever, and see if you can put on a tiny show. Maybe find somebody in that area as well, speak to them, maybe 100 cap room, and then get like 3 or 4 of you on the bill, pay for the show, sort the tickets out, and that way as well. Also the third way would be that, but then again if you're kind of established or whatever, is maybe set up a tour with a bunch of artists, get merch and kind of do it that way. I can expand on that more, but obviously let me know in the comments down below. um but yeah, I think they're probably the best three effective ways of getting shows. And obviously, if you get stuck on one, then you can go to another. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, there is like pay to play and stuff. Like, I personally would never pay for a show. I know there's a lot of people that like would go and pay for a show, and or if there's like a viable opportunity or whatever. But I'd say if it's ever pay to play, maybe flip it on the promoter and say I can bring X amount of people, not like 30 40, but however much it is for the ticket. Say it's £100 and it's like £30 to get into somewhere or whatever. You bring 30 people, everyone's happy, everyone's going to buy a drink. Do you know what I mean? And flip it that way, because I think the pay to play thing's really silly and it doesn't make any sense, and like promoters can swing it whatever way they want or whatever, but it's the same thing as paying for plays. Like you're just going to end up getting like a really skewed view of stuff, and people are going to be there and they've spent money to maybe be on a bill or whatever, and it's just you're not going to get like the real honest feedback that you need. So from me, like I'd say don't ever pay for shows at all. And yeah, consistency with like releasing and getting stuff out. I think for me, like I had a plan to kind of start and just keep going with stuff basically. And I built up a bunch of lo-fi tracks, I built up a bunch of rap tracks. I've got 3 albums finished that are mine, and then I've got like a bunch of like EPs and albums with other people and singles and stuff like that. But that's taken 2 years to build up, plus in that time I've released literally over 200 songs, being lo-fi, rap, whatever else. And I've just basically consistently done it over the course of time, and obviously I've got people helping me do obviously certain bits in the background, i.e. like Vinyl Digital have been really great, and they've helped me like with a bunch of like albums, and obviously they've helped me release stuff, which has been really good. But obviously all the plays from that are still organic and they're real, and like nothing's been paid for, none of the promo and stuff like that. And it's just like, I think if you gain organic people and you gain organic followers and like you keep producing a better sound and you get a better outcome from what you're trying to gain. Because if you're not sat there kind of overthinking everything, at the end of the day you're going to get a better result, because there's not going to be kind of like a mismatch between you creating and you wanting a certain outcome, because you're just going to create for the sake of creating, which we all want to do at the end of the day, and then you end up obviously in a better place because the people that have gravitated towards that are gravitating towards you, not something you think you want them to be. Like you, yeah, literally, like there's something that you don't, or that thing in your mind that you're like, oh, like people want this, so I want to be that. Don't do that, just be you, basically. But yeah, tangent. But I think it's just about making sure that you are happy within yourself and you're happy making sure that you're creating consistently. But I would say stacks and tracks, find people to release stuff, find good people to grow yourself, surround yourself with people who are way better at you than certain things, and then just grow that and build with people and build a community, and make sure that like when you are having a shit day, let your people know. Like when they're having a shit day, check in. Do you know what I mean? It's just simple shit, but we forget it as humans, and we are all humans at the end of the day, and we just need to be nicer to each other. But that is this week's ramblings. Stay golden. Have a great week.
It's painstaking, I've been rainmaking. There's no plain sailing, so please save me time. I don't want babies, it's a lot lately. Please don't break my heart. Where's the ceiling? Where's the feeling? I need meaning, yeah.